Work besties, and we're back with a part 3 of workplace scams, workplace red flags, corporate questionable things. All right, so I guess let's just get right into it. This is an interesting one. When sick days are looped into your PTO days, so you basically get an allocated number of days per year, that paid time off, vacation days, however you want to call them. But sick days are part of that, or dependent care days are part of that, or mental health days are part of that. And it's only one allocated number. And then if you have, to go to the doctors, or you're not feeling well someday, or you've got an unforeseen circumstance come up that you have to be there, and then having to use one of your PTO days for that is crazy to me. It's a bit of a red flag, because I think we should be treating employees like humans and understanding that life is not always predictable and things come up. And so if someone needs to take a day off here or there, obviously there's the extreme cases where people take advantage of this, but I'm talking about, the general population, or the normal population, not normal, but like normal circumstances. I just think that it's like, oh yeah, if you have an appointment, you run out for that and then you come back. Like it's no big deal, as long as it's not massively impacting a non-negotiable time that you need to be at work, or a huge meeting or something. Basically the idea where it's like all of your days, it's like you get 15 days a year for anything you possibly need to be off work for, use them how you please. Like I was talking to someone the other day when I was over in Europe, and I'm not gonna speak for all of Europe, but the countries and people I've talked to, I was talking to this one girl, and she had 30 days vacation, another 2 weeks off, 10 days for family leave, because a lot of their employees are from different countries, and so they actually allocate days in to just be like, go back and see your family. Plus, I don't even know if sick days were a thing and numbered, because when you're sick, you can't always control that. And I was just like, oh my goodness, it's so crazy to think how, at least in Canada, and I think North America in general, we're so strict and so limited on how many days off we get, that for a lot of, or some of different parts in the world, it's like unheard of that, 2 weeks vacation starting is like normal, from what I've seen here. And like 3 weeks is like you're doing pretty good. 4 weeks is like, where do you work? Sign me up. Yeah, but that scam idea of like, here's how many days you get a year for everything and anything. Scam! This is a big scam. It's the mindset of living to work. So adjusting your entire life to fit your work schedule, your work demands. Basically, everything in your life is controlled by work, versus working to live, so working to fund the life that you live outside of this, being able to find a job that fits into your life versus building a life that fits into your job. And it's a privilege to be able to do that, and not everyone has that luxury, not everyone has that privilege. But at the end of the day, I think it's important to realize that work isn't your sole existence of being on this earth. Yes, it could be your way of contributing back to society. You can get so much fulfillment for it. That's amazing. But you're more than just your job. And you're not put on this earth to work. And once the work goes away from your life, you are still so worthy. And so I think this idea, or the mindset shift of work is what funds the life that I live outside of that. And while work is a big piece of my life, it's not the entire piece of it. And so shifting that mindset more to, I work to live, to afford to live, and not the other way around, I think is really, really important. And oftentimes we can get stuck in that mindset of work just controlling our entire life. And you know what, if you're someone who that works for, and you're like, I like that work controls my entire life, that's fine. I'm not judging you. I'm just saying, I think it's important to realize we're put on this earth for a little bit more than just our work contributions. This one, and there's so many different examples of how this can show up in a workplace, but when companies don't understand that everyone's work needs are different, and they try to slap on policies and rules like a one size fits all, when all of our lives are not a one size fits all. We all prioritize different things. We all have different demands in our life. And so when there's no flexibility on the company's end to understand that all employees potentially need something different to be able to effectively do their job, different environments, I think that can kind of bring up a couple red flags, because not everyone should be treated the exact same in terms of what they need to effectively do their job and the environment they need to be in, and what have you. Flexibility is a massive key contributor to a lot of people's success within a role. I know for me, it's really important to work with companies that have that flexibility and realize that it's not a one-size-fits-all solution when it comes to all of your employees. That can take shape and form in so many different ways, from benefits packages to working environments and, you know, communication styles at work and so much more. So the idea of the scam being one size fits all solutions for a group of people who are all very, very different at their core. And then kind of on that same note, when health benefits, private benefits are only catered to a specific demographic of your workforce, and I think we see this a lot with companies where a health benefits package, for example, could be strictly catered towards families and kids, where not everyone at the company has kids. You know, not everyone will choose to have kids. I think it's important when we're looking at health benefits, when we're looking at packages, to have something that caters to a larger group of people, different demographics as well, or potentially the option to be able to choose a benefit package based on what your needs are. It's important, again, going back to this idea that not everyone is the same, not everyone has the same needs, not everyone's personal life looks the same. So when we're offering a benefit, which at the end of the day, a health benefit package is part of your total compensation, it needs to reflect compensation in everyone's life. I know I've worked at places where it was so heavily catered towards families and kids, which is great because I worked with a lot of people that had families and kids, and that solution worked really well for them. But I was a kid. Like, I had just started in that workplace, and I was like, oh, I don't need all of these things. I'm paying into kind of, yes, because it's part of my compensation, and if you look at it that way, you're kind of paying it back. But I'm getting this compensation of X amount of dollars to go towards the health benefits that I can't even use most of them because I don't have children. I think it's important when we're looking at things such as a health benefits package to cater to a wider group of people and not so narrow into one specific demographic or the other. Otherwise, it can feel a little bit like a scam, a red flag, because you're not really actually getting the full compensation reward package for that piece of the puzzle. This has always confused me, and I'm just gonna call it a scam because it's like, it's the weirdest thing ever, and I think a lot of companies are like this. Performance reviews rated on a scale of 1 to 5, but you're never allowed to give out a 5, ever. Like, not allowed. A 4 is like rare and exceptional, and you can only give it to a couple people. Everyone else should just be like a 3, and that's like, you're doing your job. That's confusing on the receiving end, because if I'm rated on a scale of 1 to 5, I would assume a 5 would be like you're doing the job and executing it the way you'd be expected to in this role, or maybe that would be a 4, and then 5 would be like you're going above and beyond, and that's kind of, you know, normal. 3 to me is, in my mind, it goes, you need some work. You're not really reaching that bare minimum of your job that we've kind of set, that expectation that we set for you of your job. But then like everyone in the company's a 3. It's like, why do you even have a 5 if you can't give a 5 out? Why wouldn't the 4 just become the 5 and everyone at base is like a 4, and then if you're a 3, it's kind of like you need a little bit of improvement to get, you know, back to where we expect you to be, and then 2 is like you're about to be on a PIP, and then a 1 is like your days are numbered here. That always confuses me. Performance reviews in general, I think, are a little outdated, and I don't really have a solution of how to make them more effective. Like, I've tried different things with my team. I think more of performance reviews are more of a check-in point. Like, nothing in a performance review should really be a surprise. It should be kind of allocated time with you and your manager to just check in, go over how things are going. What do you need for support? What do they need to see from you? What's in the pipeline? You know, reflecting on celebrating your successes in the company, talking about maybe your goals, where you'd like to go with your role, anything you'd like to get involved in. More of a check-in point versus like a rating system. But I get a rating system is probably applicable in like the back end when people just need to see analytics and numbers for performance. And I don't know, that whole realm and world though is very confusing, but specifically the scam to me is that 5 rating scale. It should just be a 1 to 4, or I don't know, but the whole thing confuses me, don't like it. This one might be controversial. Working hard, and when I say working hard, I don't necessarily mean working outside of your working hours, because I'd like to remind everyone, you can work hard within your working hours. Working hard doesn't equate to working around the clock. I mean, I think when people hear working hard, they think like, oh, you just dedicated your whole life and you're grinding and blah, blah. You can work hard within your work hours too. But anyways, back to my point. Working hard with the expectation that it will lead to promotion. And here's why this is a scam. Because 1, that is likely not in your control. 2, sometimes if we work too hard or we do too good at our job, we're so valuable in that role that moving us out of it will leave a massive gap. So it might actually hinder our potential for that promotion. I've seen that happen quite a few times. And 3, when you're so motivated to work hard because of this goal or this expectation that you're gonna get promoted, or maybe you're being told you work harder and you'll get promoted, the end goal that you're trying to see there might not ever arrive because there's so many external factors out of your control that are contributing to that. You're more than likely setting yourself up for disappointment if that's the sole reason that you're working hard. And then when you finally realize that you're not getting that promotion, you've set your behaviors to a point where people know what to expect from you as an employee. They know your output of work, they know your dedication, they know how hard you work, and then you stop. Does that put your job at jeopardy potentially? Because people might notice that shift and be like, oh, they're not pulling their weight anymore. Where in reality, you were pulling more of your weight, you just expected to be rewarded and you weren't, which happens oftentimes. And that sucks. Like, it's a crappy feeling as well. So I would say that's a bit of a scam. I think doing a good job is important. And if, working hard, there's nothing wrong with that. But if it's solely to get promoted, you might not. I hate to say it, but it's not guaranteed. No matter how hard you work, you're not guaranteed to get that promotion. And so if you are dedicating everything you have to this job, I hope you get promoted, but you also might not. So let's just keep that in mind. And there you have it, Work Besties, part 3 of corporate scams. Things that feel like a little icky in the workplace, red flags, if you will. Should we do a part 4? I don't know, you tell me. Do you have any red flags, any scams that I didn't touch on yet that you want to bring to the table? Throw them in the comments section. As always, I appreciate you being here, and we'll see you later, Work Besties. Toodaloo.